Welcome to the Flex Forward podcast, where grit meets growth. With your host, Nick Espanet, bringing you stories of resilience, reinvention, and the real climb to success.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Flex Forward podcast. Today, we're joined by Gabriel Griess. Gabriel comes to us from Grapevine, Texas, right in the middle of DFW. He is part of Excel Medical Staffing and Med4X. He's also retired military and an author, so I really look forward to getting to know more about him. Gabriel, can you kind of give a little more detail about what it is you do at your company and maybe a little bit of your history?
Absolutely. It's so good to be here, Nick, and I just appreciate your time and hope the listeners get some value out of this. Yeah, so farm kid out of Nebraska, wanted to fly airplanes, went off to the Air Force Academy and flew for about 20 years with some time in management and executive work in the Air Force towards the latter part. And then retired in 2015, and in 2017 found my way into the medical staffing space, which is a really interesting and exciting environment. And then during the COVID years was like selling picks and shovels in San Francisco in 1849 as all the gold rush was going on. And so we're in a different season right now in the temporary medical staffing space. And so definitely have some stories on resilience there and enjoy living in Grapevine and attending our local church with my wife and 3 kiddos. And I get to work with my best friend every day. So life, every day you meet me now, I'm living my best day of my life.
That's awesome. So great. So how many, you said 3 children, are they all still at home, or boys, girls?
Yeah, I got started a little bit late. So I've got a 15, 14, and 11-year-old boy, girl, boy.
Okay.
And yes, they're still all at home, although they are independent and smart enough to probably live on their own, and some days would probably like that.
Yeah. I started late. Mine are 20, about to be 18 and 14. So 2 are still at home, especially the one that's about to be 18. She is ready to chomping at the bit to take off. She can't get through this last year of high school fast enough to but good kids too. Yeah, they're great. That's awesome. All girls on my end. So
oh my gosh, it's crazy.
So I'm the only male in the house, so it's
definitely.
We used to have a, yeah, well, we did. He was a male, but he was a Shih Tzu, so he was kind of a girly dog on top of that, but he was a good dog. But no, we're one and done with pets. So what we don't want to happen is get another pet and then all the kids go off to school, and then my wife and I we want to travel more once the kids are gone. And sometimes I feel like when we had the dog, it cost more to house him than it did to house us on some of our trips.
Absolutely. Are you looking for domestic travel or more international?
Both, doing a little bit of both as we get as empty nesters. Being in my real estate that I do, I can work as long as I have a Wi-Fi connection and a laptop. I can work most of the time. I need to check on my properties occasionally, but my wife had a neat story of. She went with her grandparents every summer, and before she graduated high school, she'd been to every state west of the Mississippi with them in an RV. So it's kind of she has that, likes to get out there and travel. And she says it was when she was in high school, she thought it was the worst thing ever, but really appreciated it once she was older, that knowing the opportunity she got to go do that.
I can relate. I did my 50th state, Alaska, in the summer of 24 by cruise, which was cool. My kiddos gave me a t-shirt with all 50 states on it.
That's awesome. Good stuff.
With respect to reliving the childhood adventures, we started this summer visiting Mount Rushmore, and being a kid from Nebraska, the first family vacation anybody ever takes is to Mount Rushmore. So we closed that loop with my kiddos and got them to experience it. It was a lot of fun.
Very neat. So what got you going from being a pilot or in the Air Force to a medical recruiting company or a medical staffing company?
It's a great question. And really it was just an invitation from a lifelong friend. I'd retired in 15 and had tried a couple of different things through 16 and 17. I call it entrepreneurial land, also known as unemployed, could be another term you could use there. And my wife and I had sort of arrived at a point in about March of 17 where we're like, we probably really ought to find an income, because this life thing's getting expensive.
Yep.
And about the same time, a friend of mine who'd been running and scaling a staffing company was lamenting some of the personnel challenges and some of the back office structural things and the financial controls and accounting. And And I told him, look, I can run a mean spreadsheet and I can write a policy, but I don't know anything about staffing. And so we struck a deal, and that got us to move here to Texas and learned the staffing business. And shortly after getting here and getting involved, I launched Excel Medical Staffing as a service disabled veteran-owned small business, because that set aside, or that designation of service disabled, allows us to get access to some different contracts and also have some
Okay.
preferential position when we're bidding on government contracts.
Oh, nice. So I know I was actually in healthcare before I got into commercial real estate. So I've been in there. I know there's a lot of competition on medical staffing. What sets you guys apart from some of the some of your competition out there?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So first and foremost, we're service disabled. And so with that, we bring our military ethos of service first. We learned in the Air Force, and my business partner, Kevin, and I met June 27th, 1991. We literally just returned last weekend from our 30-year college reunion. So we've been
Oh,
best
nice.
friends for our entire adult life. And he also was a retired service disabled veteran. And so we bring that ethos of service first to everything we do with our clients, with our clinicians, and it just really brings a lot of joy and also alleviates a lot of stress in the organization, because if what we're doing is not good for our client or our clinician, then ultimately it's not going to be good for us, even though it may feel like something to do in the short term.
Sure.
So,
Good stuff. Just providing that service and serving people, putting others first, I guess is what it kind of narrows down to. Is there anything that you guys, and you may have just answered this, find comes easier to you that others may find challenging?
Well, the military is really, really big on planning, right? So we can plan and sharpen our pencils and, create all sorts of different courses of action depending upon if this happens, then that. And one of the things we always reminded ourselves was no plan survives first contact with the enemy, right? The enemy gets to vote.
Sure.
And so you can plan all you want, but sooner or later, there's somebody else that doesn't want you to win who's going to push back against you. And so something I think we do really well, and Kevin especially does really well, is we stay very even keeled. We're not getting shot at in this kind of work. And on a bad day in the office when we were in uniform, we would get shot at. So there's not a lot to take us off of center.
It gives you a lot of perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that being even, for sure.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. So if someone's listening and wants to get better at something, what would you recommend? Do you have any podcasts or books, or even just personal fitness or health wise or work wise, anything you like to do that has helped you excel?
Yeah. So first off, awareness, right? We have to become aware that we want to improve or change or shift or choose differently. There's a Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 13:11. I think I got it right, which is, when I was a child, I thought like a child. I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. And when I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. I think that's one of the first steps that anybody needs to take if they really want to take themselves on, is choose to grow up. A lot of times and I can say this personally, right? I maintained behaviors that didn't serve me. I maintained thought patterns that didn't serve me. And so waking up to those things and choosing differently is absolutely one of the first critical steps.
No, good stuff. And that is a great verse. I haven't heard that one in a while, but so open. And I think in society today, we need more and more men and women need to step up and hear that it would go help them a lot as they're going through life. That's good
Well,
stuff.
you use the right term, Nick, right? It's to be a man or to be a woman. In fact, at church the other day, our pastor was speaking into basically to young ladies in the audience, are like, if he's a boy, dump him until he comes back as a man.
Oh, no.
Right.
I need to use that with my daughters, the 3 girls.
Well, and you meet the spouses, especially the the wife in a lot of relationships who's like, yeah, I have 4 boys, right? My 3 children and my husband,
And
right,
yeah,
or whatever. And there's some humor in that comment. But if there's more than just a little bit of jest in it, then it's not very healthy.
no, for sure. You got to step up and lead and take the controls in the house. That's so important. So, what is one of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome in your career?
Oh my gosh, there are countless ones. I'll give you a personal one with respect to resilience because I know that's one of the elements that your audience really appreciates, and that is our daughter Michaela, when she was born, beautiful, full term, natural birth, just an amazing young girl. But she had a catastrophic seizure at the age of 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And she was in a state of near constant seizure activity until the day before her first birthday when we took her in for surgery and they removed 25% of her brain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And so, the 8 month journey up until surgery was a complete test of faith. The surgery itself was a massive effort and surrender. And then the next year of recovery was the same way. And so, um, God uses everything for good,
For sure.
right? And we can't necessarily see it when we're in the middle of it, but as long as we step into the arena and we know that that is happening and that is going to continue to happen, um, I can get back to just being my best today, right? And being in the journey and being in the process today, knowing that I
100%.
can't see around the corner. I can't see the future, but he can. And so,
That's so
um,
awesome.
and then the other part, I'll tell you this story too. Same element with our daughter is, so catastrophic seizures, brain surgery, super big deal, right? Well, when she was born, she had this blister on her head, uh, about about the size of an adult thumbnail, and it was this blood blister. And they said it was likely some piece of the placenta that had adhered to her skull in utero,
Mm.
and that it would die and it would go away. Well, my wife is absolutely stunning. My daughter's going to grow up to be absolutely stunning. And I'm looking at this thing like, how can she be prom queen with this blister on her head? And so almost immediately we worked to get a referral into dermatology. Well, the day after we were released from uh, the ICU, where they had been observing her seizure activity, we get the call for the referral for dermatology. And so in the space of resilience, we can't be in the comparison game, right? I can't be like,
For sure.
oh, your thing was so much more worse than mine doesn't count, right? Like we 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 grow and learn resilience through our own life experiences, and 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 we get to honor that, right? Sometimes people poo-poo and put down what they've been through as it's not meaningful. And what I tell you is that if you're dealing with it and it's taking you off center, then it's meaningful.
Hmm.
And we build greater resilience and elasticity in our lives as we go through these things, especially when we're intentional. But we kind of put ourselves down after that dermatology call came in because we're like, oh, well, this doesn't matter. But the day that we saw it and we took action about it, it was a big deal.
Sure. It
And
was high
so,
priority. Yeah,
yeah, we just don't know what life's going to throw at us, given another day.
for sure. Well, how is she doing now?
Amazing. She's 14 years old. She's a cheerleader. She's in cross country.
Oh,
She
awesome.
sings, dances, does aero yoga, swings. She's
My goodness.
sassy.
That is so
I
awesome.
swear, and I tell people the only thing they cut out during brain surgery was fear because the
Oh,
girl's absolutely fearless.
that's awesome. Well, as you've kind of worked through your career and had more and more success, a lot of people go along that path. They start thinking of ways that they can get involved in passive income and maybe to either supplement their income or replace. Do you have any thoughts on people working or creating passive income?
1,000%. Yeah, I mean, there's some schools of thought out there that say you should have 7 streams of income,
True.
right? And when you first think about it, you're like, how the heck am I ever going to do that? And so real estate could be one of those things, dividend returning stocks could be one of those things. A side hustle could be one of those things. I've recently written a book and I'm launching a coaching series, and podcast series. So that's going to be an income stream, uh, the first step would be is get off of one to two, right? Or if
Yep.
you're at zero, go get your first one. But
Sure.
assuming you're gainfully employed is then look for those additional opportunities. When you'd asked about books, one of my favorite books is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I give it to all the young folks I know that are sort of entering the workforce and considering saving for a home, or that first investment property. And real estate, they're not making any more of it. It is a fantastic tool for wealth creation.
No, for sure. And Rich Dad Poor Dad, I would bet 75% of the people that I've interviewed on the podcast have talked about that book, and it changed my life to thinking about how the big one is get money to work for you instead of you working for money, and try to find those different avenues. So yeah, I've seen him talk a couple times. I don't know if he was younger, he was nice, but he was pretty rough on the times. I think I've seen him speak 3 times, and like, ooh, I don't want to get within striking distance. His old Marine side's coming out.
Yeah, I think he's gotten a little more serious and a little more, well, frankly, off topic, you know,
Yeah.
off the rich dad, poor dad topic, in that space, he's an absolute genius, I think.
Oh, and just
You
the
know,
education, that
yeah.
in that book goes into, how kids are educated and things like that. It's just so important. But I need to get back to doing this. I was giving them out for graduation gifts and putting money like spreading $100, 20s, like you can't touch the money till you've read to where the money is. I don't know how many kids actually wouldn't go in there and fish out the 20s, but I just hope that parents were never mad and like come back and say, well, they're dropping out of college because you gave them that book and he says not to get an education. Like there's nobody ever did that so far. So yeah, that's such a great book. So Gabriel, as we're wrapping up the interview, do you have any exciting plans or initiatives in the works for the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, so we have a book that's dropping. It's gonna drop on January 13th, 2026. It's called The
Okay.
Results Tree. I got an advanced reader copy here, but that's kind of what. Oops, there's what the cover
Oh, cool.
looks
Nice. I
like.
like that cover.
Yeah, it's great. It's got a tree representing all 4 seasons, and the essence of the book is that our results, what we have in life today, represent what we want. And for some folks, that's a wonderful, inspiring thing, and for other folks, that could be a shocking revelation, right? That
Mm-hmm.
so I this is what I really want, and what it points to is that that's what we've created. And in some cases, there's a subconscious force working underneath that says, maybe I'm not worthy, maybe I have some other challenges that I'm working through, that have caused me to create these results that are out of alignment with what I really think.
Yeah.
But the foundation of it is to live grounded from personal vision. So my personal vision for my life is I live grounded in faith, creating epic experiences. And so something you should know when you come in contact with me is you're going to find out that I'm a Christian, and that I want you to really learn and to explore and to have an experience that's meaningful from having been in contact with me. Hopefully that's encouraging. Hopefully that's helping
I
you
love it.
get more on purpose. But the book comes out, and it's attached to a coaching and mentoring group I have called Navigating Leaders. So I was an Air Force navigator, former weapons school instructor. That's the Air Force's version of Top Gun. And so I've done a lot of navigating and a lot of leadership training. And so that's our brand there that we're delivering the coaching and the book through. And so
Oh,
just
that's
really,
awesome.
really super excited about the opportunity to help folks maybe learn from a lot of the mistakes that I made. And actually in the book, I outline about a half a dozen times I basically try to blow up my own life professionally. And gosh, I would love to have learned from somebody else versus having to rebuild after detonating a bomb in my own life. But I
Yeah.
certainly learned a
Yeah.
lot along the way.
That's great stuff. I'm excited for you. That sounds very awesome. So thank you so much for joining today and sharing tips and insights with everybody. If our listeners would like to get in touch with you somehow, what's the best way for that?
Yeah, probably the simplest way would be to shoot me an email at Gabriel, so Gabriel at theresultstree.com. So Gabriel at theresultstree.com, and happy to help in any way I can, Nick.
Hey, thank you so much. Remember, that book will be coming out in January. So the results tree, I got notes here so I can keep an eye out for it.
We'll get you an autographed copy.
I'd love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Thanks for joining. And everyone, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like and pass this on to your friends.
Thanks for listening to the Flex Forward podcast. If you've got grit, growth, and a great story, visit flexforwardpodcast.com/guest to apply and join us on the show.